Achieving financial stability through budgeting can be challenging, especially when your budget doesn't seem to be working as expected. You might be left wondering why your careful planning hasn't paid off, why your expenses continue to outstrip your income, or why you can't seem to save as much as you'd like. The truth is, many people encounter common pitfalls when trying to budget, and understanding these mistakes is the first step to fixing them. In this comprehensive guide, we'll break down the top 10 reasons why your budget isn't working, and offer actionable solutions to get it back on track. We'll count down from 10 to the most important budgeting tip, giving you insight into how to create a sustainable, functional budget. 10. You don't have clear financial goals. A key reason why your budget might not be working is that you haven't set clear financial goals. Without specific goals in mind, it's easy to lose motivation or direction. Budgeting without goals can feel pointless because you're not working toward anything specific. The fix. Before creating or adjusting your budget, take some time to define your financial goals. These should include both short-term and long-term objectives. For example, you might aim to pay off $5,000 in credit card debt, short-term, or save $100,000 for retirement, long-term. Having defined goals will make budgeting more purposeful and keep you focused on what matters most. 9. You're not tracking your spending accurately. Many people create a budget, but then they fail to track their spending. If you're not accurately tracking where your money is going, your budget will likely fail. It's easy to underestimate how much you're spending, especially in categories like dining out or entertainment. The fix. Start tracking every single expense. Use budgeting apps like Mint, YNAB, or a simple spreadsheet. Be diligent in tracking not only large expenses like rent and bills, but also smaller costs like coffee or snacks. By accurately recording your spending, you'll be able to see where your money is really going and adjust your budget accordingly. This gives you a clearer picture of your finances and helps you stay on top of your plan. 8. Your budget is too restrictive. Creating an overly strict budget can set you up for failure. If your budget doesn't allow for any flexibility or fun, it can quickly become a source of frustration. You might find yourself rebelling against your own plan, spending impulsively on things that weren't in the budget because you feel deprived. The fix. Strike a balance between saving and spending. It's essential to allocate funds for enjoyment, such as dining out or hobbies. A budget that includes a little room for fun is easier to stick with over the long term. Instead of cutting out all non-essential expenses, set reasonable limits. For example, instead of eliminating entertainment, reduce it by 20%. This approach will make your budget more sustainable and less likely to collapse under the weight of unrealistic expectations. 7. You're not accounting for irregular expenses. Budgeting for everyday expenses is important, but many people forget to account for irregular or seasonal expenses. These might include car repairs, annual insurance premiums, or holiday gifts. When these expenses arise, they can throw your budget off balance if you haven't planned for them. The fix. Plan for irregular expenses by setting aside money each month for them. For example, if you know you'll need $1,200 for holiday gifts in December, start saving $100 per month starting in January. Similarly, if you expect to spend $500 on car maintenance this year, divide that amount by 12 and set aside about $42 each month. This will help you avoid financial surprises and keep your budget intact throughout the year. 6. You're underestimating certain categories. Many budgets fail because people underestimate their spending in key categories, especially groceries, transportation, and entertainment. If you consistently exceed your budget in these areas, it can cause your entire financial plan to unravel. The fix. Be honest with yourself about your spending habits. Review your bank statements from the past few months to see how much you actually spend in each category. If you've been consistently overspending on groceries or entertainment, adjust your budget accordingly. Being realistic will help you create a budget that you can stick to, rather than one that falls apart after a few weeks. 5. You're not updating your budget regularly. Your budget shouldn't be a static document. Life changes constantly, and so should your budget. Whether it's a change in income, new expenses, or unexpected windfalls, failing to update your budget regularly can lead to major discrepancies between your plan and reality. The fix. Make it a habit to review your budget monthly. Check whether your spending matches your plan and whether your budget reflects your current financial situation. If you get a raise, for example, decide how you'll allocate that extra income, perhaps more towards savings or debt repayment. If your expenses increase, such as with a new car payment, update your budget to account for that. Regular reviews keep your budget relevant and effective. 4. You haven't built an emergency fund. An emergency fund is one of the cornerstones of financial stability, yet many people don't prioritize it in their budget. Without an emergency fund, unexpected expenses, such as medical bills, home repairs, or job loss, can quickly throw your budget into chaos and force you into debt. The fix: start building an emergency fund immediately, even if it's just a small amount each month. Ideally, aim to save 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses in your emergency fund. Keep this money in a separate, easily accessible account, such as a high-yield savings account. By building an emergency fund, you can handle unexpected expenses without ruining your budget or going into debt. 3. You're using credit cards for daily expenses. Credit cards can easily derail a budget, especially if you're using them for everyday purchases. When you rely on credit for routine expenses like groceries or gas, it's easy to lose track of how much you're spending. The added interest from carrying a balance month to month can make it even harder to stick to your financial plan. The fix: switch to using cash or a debit card for daily expenses. If you use a credit card, make sure you're only charging what you can pay off in full each month. Avoid using credit cards for non-essential purchases and instead save for bigger buys. By eliminating reliance on credit cards, you'll gain more control over your spending and avoid accumulating debt. 2. You're treating budgeting as a short-term fix. Many people treat budgeting as a short-term solution rather than a long-term financial habit. For example, they might budget strictly for a few months to pay off debt or save for a vacation, but once that goal is met, they stop budgeting altogether. This approach makes it difficult to maintain financial stability in the long run. The fix: shift your mindset to view budgeting as a lifelong habit rather than a temporary fix. While it's okay to have specific financial goals, budgeting should be part of your regular routine. Build sustainable habits, like reviewing your budget monthly and adjusting it as necessary. This approach will help you stay on top of your finances long after your initial goals have been met. 1. You don't have accountability. The number one reason your budget might not be working is a lack of accountability. Budgeting can be difficult, and it's easy to lose motivation or fall back into old spending habits without someone or something keeping you accountable. The fix: find a source of accountability, whether it's a budgeting partner, a financial advisor, or even an online budgeting community. Sharing your progress with someone else can help you stay committed to your budget and make smarter financial decisions. For couples, working on a budget together can foster better communication about finances and ensure that both partners are on the same page. In conclusion, budgeting is one of the most effective tools for achieving financial stability, but it only works if you approach it the right way. By identifying why your budget isn't working and implementing these fixes, such as setting clear goals, tracking your spending, allowing flexibility, and building an emergency fund, you can turn things around and create a budget that works for you. Remember, a budget isn't about restriction. It's about giving yourself control over your finances so you can live the life you want. With the right mindset and a few strategic adjustments, you can master the art of budgeting and set yourself on the path to lasting financial success. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more financial advice, budgeting tips, and money-saving strategies. Together, we can help you take control of your finances and build a brighter future.